Well, I'm a bit disappointed, but unfortunately, the trail is blocked here, and it looks like it'll be blocked until the end of the summer. So, my extremely optimistic vision of having an almost completely cycle trail route available to me has been dashed. However, this is one of those learning opportunities, right? So let's see what that means. So maybe to fully and more accurately explain what impacts on bike infrastructure can have, that idea of the chain, right? Let's take a look at what I'm now going to have to do because of this. I now have to turn around and go back the way I came. Now I won't do this again, but I will point out very quickly that there was no signage at the entrance to this that I could see, suggesting that work was being done, that the trail ended. So let's check that to see if I'm correct. I don't recall it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. So let's go take a look. Because if it isn't, that's a concern, right? Maybe I figure out who to call at the city about that. Because really, I'm sure this is going to amount to about maybe 5 minutes of my day having to ride this back. So it's not a huge deal. But the second part of this will be to show what kind of road riding I now have to do in order to make this work. And you can think about the comparative difficulty of it, right? Okay, so as a way of illustration, let's see. I am seeing no signage here. Indicating the trail is blocked. So a little photo evidence to satisfy our municipal masters. Okay. Boom. And sideways. Boom. So here's what would happen if you got booted off the trail at this point. It takes you up to Albion Road, so cars are coming in here at a speed limit of around 60, if I remember correctly, which means you can expect some 80s in there and 70s and stuff, right? So they're coming in pretty hot. This isn't a side street or anything like that. So you can ride the sidewalk. But let's look at this from a legal perspective for the moment, because you aren't really supposed to ride the sidewalk, right? Notice this path empties onto the sidewalk. Well, let's say you were following the letter of the law and hitting the road. I got a bus passing me here. You saw me, so it's no biggie, but, you know, there it is. Look at all this space here that could easily have a bike lane in it. Think about that for a minute. Wouldn't interfere with the cars. It's not being used for anything. It's just space. Now, having space is important. You don't want to feel confined in all the time. But still. It's not like it's recreational parkland or anything like that. It's roadside greenery. Slap a bike lane in there. Because I guarantee you, no novice cyclist is going to like this road. The cars are too fast. Right now it's, you know, middle of the day. Visibility is good. No big deal, right? Lots of other conditions where that's not so nice. But right now traffic is quite light. So yeah, I think there's a strong argument for saying, why isn't there a bike lane here? Why not? Why not make that the default? If there's space, put one in. You never know when having a stretch of bike lane might not make it possible for somebody to do something they couldn't do before. Then it's all about education, letting people know about it, teaching and training, help people learn how to do it well and safely. These guys can just keep doing what they're doing. There's lots of room for me. Well, that's where you're headed. The entrance to the park trail is right there, at the bottom of this hill. So, I don't see anything wrong with what we're doing here. You just have to go a little more slowly, because there could be a car coming out here, for example, that I can't see because the visibility is bad. So I almost slow to a stop just to make sure there isn't. We're cool. Now, just to paint this picture completely, so I'd have to come down and switch over lanes to get into the turning lane, right? That's what I'm required to do by law. And do this, which I know every novice cyclist would be super keen to do. Everybody should just keep going and ignore you at this point. Keep an eye on your mirror, just see if there's people coming up behind you. Might get impatient, try to squeeze past you on the left. For the most part, I'm not going to go up to the park entrance. Or maybe I will. Just to say hi. I can tell you right now that just this little bit of road management that I've had to take care of here would be more than enough to put off a lot of people from riding it. Even though the distance I've had to do that for is comparatively short, right? That's maybe, what, half kilometer? I don't know. Not that far. In a 22-kilometer trip. So, all right. And this, as they say, is the last part of it. It goes all the way up to Humber. That will be for another day. So I think that's a pretty good argument that getting some sort of unbroken chain, a crisscrossing series of unbroken chains that cover the city is important. Parkline can be a big part of that. And then you got to connect up the dots between the different sections of Parkline with safe cycle tracks and things like that, right? And honestly, I don't see why it couldn't happen. There's so much room up here. It's ridiculous, right? So here, no, because there's people's private properties there. So that's fair enough. But I don't know. These extra wide sidewalks are begging for something. I understand that there's lampposts there, but there's enough space on the left-hand side of those lampposts for the majority of the stretch here. You know what that is? It's just a collection for garbage at this point. How is that helpful to anybody? Sure, there's things you'd have to deal with, like the fire plug, but whatever. None of this that I'm suggesting here would have any impact on existing available car space. So what in the world could be stopping it, huh? Because really, I'm not suggesting anything that impacts on parking or using road space that wasn't already gone, basically. These wide single-lane roads that have parking, in the places they have parking, sorry, wide two-lane roads that have parking, in the places they have parking, the second lane disappears as a viable option for cars, except to squeeze out from the first lane, right? The right lane essentially disappears for cars when there's parking there.